Everyone has seen Ja flash his gun in a nightclub, but to understand how Ja got to this point, you need to know his story and everything he's faced.
So gather around for story time. Since Ja has begun to portray himself as a gangster, flashing guns and jumping teenagers that disrespect him, one thing that fans have been more curious about than ever is Ja's origin story. What environment did Ja grow up in? Does his upbringing have any influence on his off-the-court actions today? Seeing a complete 180 in personality change and witnessing an NBA player going from wholesome to troubled is rare. As a result, many have turned to asking questions about his childhood. The truth is, Ja didn't have an average childhood. Unlike many NBA stars today, Ja was raised far from any city life. He was born in Dalzell, South Carolina, a tiny countryside town with a population of 2,000 people when Demetrius Ja Morant was born on August 10, 1999. Only about 3K residents exist today. Good luck finding well-kept outdoor courts in this town, let alone multiple grocery stores. Having NBA dreams in a town like this wasn't common. Having the potential to actually achieve those dreams, the odds might be 1 in a trillion. But this wasn't a dream that Ja would have to chase on his own. There was one man that was by Ja's side every step of the way. Someone that was a steady rock in Ja's life. A mentor and a coach, but at times, his biggest hater. Ja's father, Ja Morant, has shaped Ja into the NBA star we know today. But it wasn't easy. In order for Ja Morant to do everything in his power to support Ja's NBA dreams, he had to abandon his. Athletic talent runs in the gene pool in the Morant family. Like Ja, T was a top point guard in the state coming out of high school where he was teammates and close friends with Ray Allen. Ray went on to play at UConn and T took his talents to Claflin University, an HBCU in South Carolina, where he'd have an opportunity to stand out more on the court, like how Ja's opportunity at Murray State was. T finished college and had his professional basketball career ahead of him, getting an opportunity to play overseas while working to improve his game to earn an NBA contract one day. T had his career and his entire life mapped out. That was until his girlfriend Jamie got pregnant. As much as T wanted to be a professional basketball player and travel the world, fight to make an NBA roster, he wanted to be an active father more. He set aside his dream of being a pro hooper to raise his firstborn son Ja. He learned how to be a barber and let that profession become his career instead of basketball so he could be present in Ja's life from day one. There aren't many men that would sacrifice their dreams so easily for their kids. Many fathers would try to juggle it all and make it work, but Ja Morant was all in on raising Ja full time. While having a father present throughout Ja's life shaped family values that he'll carry forever, T sacrificing his dream for Ja's upbringing ultimately put pressure on Ja to live out his dream, the same dream his father had to let go. That drive that T had to be an NBA star was now being funneled through Ja. Creating an NBA player out of Ja was now T's new North Star, and he was going to achieve this goal by any means necessary. As you now know, growing up in Dalzell wasn't a place that was loaded with resources. If Ja was going to put in the hours, blood, sweat, and tears, he needed to get creative. In order to practice every day, the Morants needed to get resourceful. Therefore, T decided he needed to build a basketball court from scratch. Ja's father took it in his own hands to build a concrete basketball court in his backyard, pouring the cement and setting up the hoop all himself. From that point on, Ja would relentlessly grind and practice on a daily basis. There were times it was just too much. Sometimes Ja was pushed to a breaking point. T created the TTG Camp, or the Train to Go camp for Ja, which would be practiced religiously. While T was Ja's greatest coach growing up, he was also his most brutal critic, constantly putting pressure on Ja during training and games, but very rarely giving him any credit when credit was due. Ja calls his dad his first hater and still his biggest hater today. Ever since Ja's been in the NBA, T's kept the same energy. After Ja won Rookie of the Year, T told Ja, "Good job, you still suck." Pretty harsh, but a lot of people would probably call that tough love. Nevertheless, sometimes tough love isn't always the answer. Every now and then, people deserve their roses. There were times he deserved it growing up. Being an AAU star on Zion Williamson's team, earning a spot to play ball and attend Crestwood Private School, earning a full ride to Murray State after being discovered by an assistant coach that randomly caught Ja leaping through the roof when he was on his way to get a hot dog. The one person who was always there to give Ja love and respect, his idol, his best friend, his cousin Trey, tragically lost his life at a young age. Ja and his father are close, but Ja and his cousin Trey were boys. They were brothers, more than they were cousins, and Ja looked up to Trey more than anyone else in his life. Trey was a bit older than Ja, already making it to the college level as a hooper while Ja was still a young teen. Unfortunately for Trey, his basketball journey stopped after college, and after was consumed by a deadly passion. He was a motorcycle enthusiast that lived for riding, collecting, and even making content with and on his bikes almost every day. Just before Ja began his playing career at Murray State, he suffered a tragedy, a brutal loss that would change Ja forever, losing his cousin Trey. Tragically, Trey's hobby was fatal. He got into an accident on his motorcycle that he couldn't survive, leaving behind a heartbroken family, but no one suffered as much as Ja. When he was asked about his cousin Trey, Ja referred to him as the one that held the family together, the glue. When Ja was drafted, he ended his post-draft interview with "Long live Trey." His cousin meant the world to him, and after losing him, Ja was never the same again. After getting drafted by the Memphis Grizzlies, Ja took it upon himself to become the glue of his family. Ja wanted his family to be taken care of, to be set, but he also wanted everyone to feel a sense of home at all times. Therefore, instead of getting a crib for everyone in his family, he moved everyone into his Tennessee mansion instead. His dad, mom, sister Tania, his girlfriend at the time, his aunt and uncle all lived under one roof. Ja was doing everything in his power to support his family, to give them their best life, but also to be the glue like Trey was. But for Ja, the one person he would lean on was no longer there when he needed him the most. There's no doubt that Ja is a family man. He moved his entire family into his home, and he went to go fight a Finish Line employee at a Memphis mall, pulling up 9 deep after his mom was apparently disrespected by the employee. Was it reckless? Of course. But it did show how it's ride or die for the family in Ja's eyes. Ja is everyone's support system in his family at this stage in his life. But after Trey has passed, it's not clear who's Ja's support system. T and Ja are as tight as you'll see a father and son. But the father-son relationship is different from brotherhood. Trey was like a big brother to Ja. While no one knows for certain why Ja has been down this recent path of poor decision making and violence, what we do know is that when life gets tough, having the right people around you and actually listening to them is crucial. From what we can gather, Ja has not surrounded himself with the best crowd since joining the NBA. He had 9 people roll deep with him to intimidate a Finish Line employee at the mall, plus a friend that joined in Ja to jump a minor during a pickup game, who was later kicked out of a Pacers arena after getting into an altercation. To add to this resume, if Ja didn't sneak in a gun on the team plane and into the Denver nightclub to flash on IG Live, who gave Ja the gun to let him flaunt to the world, which put him in some hot waters? It's easy to turn to those that show you love and respect after enduring a loss like Ja did. The loss of a brother, even if they aren't the greatest of influences. When you're on top of the world, it can get hard to trust everyone is going to be on Ja's side or appear that way. At this stage in the madness, Ja's family has apparently come together to collectively steer Ja in the right direction. We'll never know for sure what sudden decision, what single moment compelled Ja to spiral off into a series of unfortunate events. But we know what kind of man Ja is at his core, how he was raised, and what he's lost. As someone who puts his family first, an athlete with an extraordinary come-up story, and a generational talent, it's safe to say that we are all rooting for you, Ja. Make sure you subscribe to our channel for weekly stories about your favorite athletes that you want to hear but never knew.